So we've heard very exciting presentation about the power of cloud from various aspects and perspectives. And what else would be the first question right here? That what do you see as a power of Europe in this cloud business? And let me ask first, Anna, and please tell us a few words about your organization. As well.
Okay, hello everybody. Very pleased that you are still there. That's an important achievement. I'm managing a group of companies. One of them, EFICOM, is listed on the small cap market Warsaw Stock Exchange. This is an advisory and investment company, but the small. We have also a seed capital fund, another investment company, IT and Green, and consulting and, let's say, conference and events company. But the basic and I think the important thing that we are in the, let's say, mainstream of what's going on now in Poland and in Eastern Europe, which is this very strong investment movement now, and still Poland being as a kind of green island, starting maybe a light crisis situation, but not completely in the crisis, which allows us to say that there are still big opportunities for, and this concerns also the whole Eastern Europe and Central Europe, big opportunities for investment, for digital topics, digital agenda, and for cloud. And now about cloud. I'm also a member of European Economic and Social Committee. There's one of my colleagues here, Eric Pigal, and we are currently working on the opinion on evaluating the European Commission strategy. We are also quite involved in a digital agenda group work and studies. And this is something I will not go into details now because we are in the period of preparing our opinion. However, what I would like to say is to refer to our discussions from today. I try to follow, but not all of them, and to your presentations, gentlemen. So first of all, the market value is foreseen to reach 160 billion euro by 220 and create 2.5 million new jobs. Well, the point will be that we can discuss where this, from which business models these figures are coming out. And this is to be discussed seriously. Certainly, is it only infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, or software? Or is it something more? And this is the point, is it the hybrid model, or is it something completely different? Is it this issue and this topic of new mobile apps which are available and which will be available in the cloud, and this is some people are also predicting that it will be a market of 9 billion euro only in Europe. Again, is it a new opportunity? So what I would like to introduce, maybe rather than comment, it's the general question: what is the business model, or which are business models for cloud, and how we can make money with in different countries, because well, we are in Europe, sorry for IBM, but you are also working in Europe, and you are a European company also. All American companies are working in Europe, and they're very the main players. However, this European strategy is to allow European companies to move faster and to develop quicker. Not only IT companies, so meaning not only providers. So there is a space for everybody, but we should find a right way to approach it. So I would like also mention, and I stop, I promise, that there is a very important issue, even if we don't like to make money with small and medium-sized companies, and personally my company is advising rather big companies. However, organizing financing for small. And this is cloud computing, as we have already told, this is an issue and a main topic for a solution probably for 23 million of European small and medium-sized enterprises having big problems with obtaining financing now because of prudential requirements. And of course, cloud, this is a question of OPEX and CAPEX. Do we buy infrastructure and so on? Because it's cheaper. It has been told in the last London summit, I think, few days ago. It's much cheaper to buy a server and to put in your premises. And okay, in 3 years, you finish the investment, and it's cheaper than cloud provider. You have to pay ongoing. However, of course, you have in the cloud model what is cheaper. Of course, you have delivery of software, you have delivery of service, and so on and so on. So, and you have probably the same service as JP Morgan or any kind of big player, big client, even if you are a small company. And this is the main issue. So this is just as an introductory speech. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Anna. So the question is open, and I'd like to have your opinion as well. So where is our strengths, where is Europe's ecosystem strengths in segments and in which territories? So if you can share your views on it, Dart.
Yeah, I'll start. I don't mind at all. So one thing that I'm particularly passionate about, and I've spoken at a number of entrepreneurial conferences and actively been involved in dialogue with entrepreneurs and venture capitalists and the like, is one of the comments that you made, Anna, which is that actually cloud is a great enabler of the David versus Goliath story. So what I mean by that is, because you don't have to invest all of your seed corn funding that you might have managed to gather during these difficult times and invest that into infrastructure, you can now use it to buy workloads on cloud and therefore prove your business model, start building your cash flow sooner, and therefore enable yourselves to become a more robust standalone business much more rapidly. And from an IBM point of view, I mean, we've made it explicitly clear. Our CEO commented on it nearly 2 years ago. Yes, we have private cloud, we have public cloud, we've got a whole load of cloud solutions, cloud services. We expect to deliver a significant amount of that, if not the majority of it, through an ecosystem of business partners. And not only that, moving to OpenStack, which is a topic a number of people have highlighted already today, we're able to draw in a number of ISVs, ideally local ones, that we can actually help embed and help scale and drive new business growth through that route. And just to prove that we do eat our own logic, many of you will know IBM was the biggest implementer of Siebel. I think we're the biggest Siebel instance on the planet. We've taken a strategic decision to go with Sugar CRM, which is a small, comparatively small anyway, cloud ISV to deliver CRM solutions. So we are actively doing it. We're very publicly doing it, and it's something that I think you'll see an awful lot more of. So I think your proposition is a really solid proposition. Hope that helps.
Thank you so much. Jacques, your opinion on this specific issue?
Of course, I can only give the view from, let's say, tiny Luxembourg, and our customers are, according to the same size than the country. So, but nevertheless, we have been quite successful in the SME area. So I can only give my comment about SMEs, basically. But I was also looking at the theme of this panel, and it says, how can cloud transform the economy? Again, looking at the SMEs, in all modesty, we have been quite successful, I think, because people know us here, and because they know where their data are stored. But I mean, to develop a bit the market for cloud, and to make SMEs more trustful in moving their ICT to the cloud with all the benefits they have, I think we need some kind of legal framework that guarantees if a cloud provider goes bust, which we do not hope, but that the data are not lost. And here in Luxembourg, there is a law on its way, to cover this risk, and I hope it will also be the case on a European scale. And that is really, let's say, a risk that the company can take if they move to cloud. But the benefits, I mean, overweigh, in my opinion, and what we have also been told by all the speakers today.
Thank you. Arjen?
Yeah, so I guess two things I'd like to comment on, just in terms of cloud assisting business growth here in Europe. And you probably would have noticed from my accent, I'm South African, but I have been in the UK for quite some time, to the point that I start to go pink in the sun again. But there are two things really in terms of business building. One of the advantages of building a cloud infrastructure for the ecosystem in which it provides services is that due to the nature of cloud infrastructures and the requirement to be completely elastic, there's always an excess capacity within cloud service providers. And I think there needs to be a more conscious effort for the larger players that if they're serious about building a business community and an ecosystem around them, in terms of making that excess capacity available on demand, obviously with no SLAs in place, but available to a certain level of business startups. So where young kids who are coming up with ideas should have free access to infrastructure to at least test them out. That's the only way the ideas are ever going to get floated. And there's definitely business capacity that can be exposed to them. We as a 6-year-old company provide free accounts, but I don't see too many large corporates providing free services to startups. That said, I also think that unless you're working 20 hours a day and for 5 days a week and 24 the other 7, that you should qualify for them, because one of the key things that have been mentioned earlier in terms of the number of startups coming out of the US, that it does take it takes that sort of commitment to actually building the business to get going. So we see a lot of startups saying, well, it was difficult to get access to capital and I couldn't have great offices and the kit was expensive, but people are working 9, maybe 10-hour days, etc. So I think it works both ways in terms of building a business community. There's definitely more that can be done to provide a stimulating environment for startups, but I think that the message also needs to be a little bit clearer in terms of what it takes to build a business, and people need to get stuck in a little bit more than they do.
Thank you so much. So I'd like to encourage you to take a question. Since we are a little bit running out of time, I think we have a chance to have one question. If it's possible, I encourage you to take as a round question to everybody have a chance to reply. So, please.
If you could just tell me quickly, where do you see bigger growth? SMEs, enterprise, NGOs? Especially enterprise versus SME, where do you see for yourself the biggest growth opportunity?
Public sector.
Or public sector, yes.
Do you want me to comment? Because from a UK and Ireland point of view, which I think is a representative model, it's universal. What I'm surprised at, and again, Maybe David, you've got similar visibility from a Logica point of view. This is really, I mean, I mentioned the word disruption. The people, some of the clients that you would expect to be leaders are followers. Some of the clients that you expect to be followers are really dynamic leaders. This is really, there is very, very little, you know, modelling here that reflects on history from my experience. And I think SMEs and large businesses both are applying cloud to equal benefits. I mean, I recently was delighted to be part of a panel at Cambridge University. There were 500 entrepreneurs in the audience, all had absolutely fantastic ideas. You know, I think there's a real desire and a real hunger in the market to use cloud as that enabler. And most of them haven't been put off. Many of them, you know, were mobile app writers or whatever that were on 2 or 3 or even the 3rd startup. You know, I was absolutely bowled over by the energy and the appetite in the market to give it a go and invest. It's never been, yeah, okay, there's going to be a lot of failures there. There always is with startups, but there's never been a more ambitious group of people, certainly that I've met, in one room at any one time. And I hope they all get a lot of success out of it.
Again, perspective from our small country, or what our experience is here in Luxembourg from a Telindus view, is that SMEs, they are really the pioneers for us in the sense that they will go for a full cloud solution, but always with the necessary managed services that go with it. So they do it simply because they have an issue and a problem, and very often the cloud, the managed cloud, is the solution for them. What we see with enterprise customers, because that's still our main business, enterprise customers as an ICT integrator, well, they don't go for full outsourcing, at least yet, once we know, but they go sometimes for vertical cloud outsourcing type of scheme. For example, they would like to buy unified collaboration solutions from the cloud.
For European companies all over Europe, cost savings, and specifically for small and medium size, but not only that. I think that will be the main point, but also access to some other services which are not available for everybody. If in a company you have to buy just a software or various softwares, and finally you don't have enough funding to finance. That's the first. Second, I think, which is very important, administration, but it's just coming, and this is a big market, at least in new member states. But the market which we have educate, and I hope we will achieve it in our country via the EuroCloud Association, which we are just creating. And as well as for my company, it's and some other companies we are working with, cloud brokerage, working with big ones and advising other companies how to get into cloud, because this is the different situation we have been discussing with Zoltan before, that in new member states and in this new Europe, we are far from the level of development you have. There is no way that the bank will even consider in our country to go to the cloud, or insurance company and any financial services companies. And I would say that Warsaw Stock Exchange, all these listed companies, they could go to the cloud, and at least part of them, then they could do financial reporting required by authorities, using some applications at least available into the cloud, and so on, not going into details. And for other services, software, mobile applications, so we are trying to integrate, and we create now a new company which will be entirely cloud oriented. That's it. Thank you.
Of course, thanks to that.
we've seen growth in SMEs, public sector, and larger corporate consumers as well. There's always someone in the family who's the IT expert and gets called on to sort out mum or dad or sister or auntie's computer, and we see a lot of that and people using our system for that. But insofar as revenue generation, public sector remains the largest for us. And I think the key to that is, as I said earlier, scale and cost savings, and that's really the biggest part of the market that's looking for those sort of gains at the moment. To go into a public sector organization where they have 9, 10,000 or 250,000 devices that need management, they're looking for something that can scale, but importantly, that's 250 instances where they can save money, and that's been a big driver for our sales.
So, Doc Clark, Jacques Ruckert, Anna Nietyksza, and Ian van Reenen, thank you very much for your contribution.